Hey there. In software development lifecycle, the solution architect plays an important role during requirement gathering and design phases. Today, we will go through the requirement gathering phase. In the requirement gathering phase, we capture the requirements from the clients through recurrent meetings, understanding their problems and how technology can help to solve them. During this phase, we collect three types of requirements: functional, quality attributes, and the system constraints. Functional requirements. It is actually a system behavior, how systems should work, but it does not determine the architectural drivers for the system. Client generally knows what problem or the issues they are facing in the real world, but does not aware of how to solve them or the solutions applicable to it. Ask client to describe everything they need or they are facing, and after initial analysis, high level problem understanding, come up with the clarifying questions and get it clarified with the client representatives until all the doubts are clarified. Identify all the actors, users, or the modules in a system. Identify and elaborate all possible use cases and scenarios. Take each use case and draw flow diagrams, sequence diagrams, etc. to understand the flow of information or the data across the different modules, their actions, and the object lifecycle. Once you have all these documents ready, you can understand the bigger picture of your architecture. Second is the quality attributes. These attributes decides the architecture of your system. How many instances you need as an active or passive configuration, global or the local locations your applications to be hosted, caching mechanism, how many requests your application should process concurrently or in limited time frame, amount of work done by your application in a given time frame. For any large scale system, following are the quality attributes taken into consideration: performance, scalability, availability, security, fault tolerance. Performance. Performance of any system is determined by the response time and the throughput. Response time is generally a processing time plus waiting time, and the throughput is the amount of work done by the system in a unit of a time. You can plot these response times or the throughput as a histogram on the x and y axis and study your system performance. Scalability, whether your system is able to handle increasing load. We can scale the systems vertically by adding more CPU memories to the same instance or increasing number of instances horizontally. Availability, probability that our system is operationally functional and accessible to the users. Availability is generally measured in percentage and it depends on uptime, that is the mean time before failure, and the downtime, that is the mean time to recovery, MTTR. And availability in percentage is generally uptime divided by uptime plus downtime. And if you are aware of Amazon S3, we generally say that the S3 is 99.99% available. Security, there are different security standards available which you can apply to your system. And through various security standards mechanism or testing mechanisms, verify how secure your system is. Fault tolerance or the high availability system can be achieved through the three major tactics. One is failure prevention, that can be achieved by the DB replications, load balancing, active passive configuration. Then the failure detection and isolation, that is, detect failure points in your system and take action on it to reduce the damage cause. Recovery, apply the retry mechanisms or switch to the passive nodes when the active node is not working properly. Then system constraints. The third is a system constraint. That is, these are the constraints or the limitations that might affect your software development cycle while building the product or the system. Time constraint, like a strict deadlines or the time to market the product. Then financial constraint, budget constraints, budget limitations, technology constraints. You need specific hardware to implement or test certain features of the product, but it is not available in the market or it is very costly. Then legal constraints, regulatory laws, GDPR limitations, team constraints, that is, your team might not be having the expertise for the certain tool to be used in the product, such as ETL tools and all.